Hello, boys and girls. Tonight's episode, I'm just going to talk like I've done the last couple ones, but I might bring up other subjects. I'm not as depressed or self-absorbed as I was last night, but I am a bit. Anyway, a, a, I think I've been wanting to talk about to people, and I have been talking about to people that usually just ends in arguments or them just over shouting at me. Ugh. Is the whole issue going on now with gun control. Gun control. See, a lot of people, I understand, they don't like guns. They don't realize that, well, guns, they could be used as weapons, and they could be used as tools. And that we're not from the time when we needed guns like we did back in the day for hunting and stuff, that kids just walk around with them in their back pocket and bust a cap in the next nigga down the street or whatever they do. But there's been a bunch of very unsettling incidents happening over the last year-ish. Like, we start off from the Aurora, Colorado shooting. This guy lived in a fantasy land. He got all these high-end weapons, went into a theater during the showing of The Dark Knight, and just lit up the place. Now, no one knows quite why he did it. He says because he's the Joker. He didn't know really anyone there. He was just fucking insane. And that's what I think kind of started this shitstorm to be so shitstormy. Then came Sandy Hook, which, I'm not gonna lie, when I heard about what happened, I was sickened. Like, I felt sick. I didn't want to get out of bed, and I had given up on life that day because the thought that someone would just pump an elementary school filled with, yeah. And it was really sad. But I looked into it a little bit after, and some things didn't make sense. Why does this kid... Why did this kid do it in the first place? Well, we found out his mother was a teacher there, and now they're saying, oh, his mother never worked there. Well, then why that school? Why there? Where did he get these guns? Oh, well, his mom took them out to had them because they were left over from their dad. Blah. Well, he was left with two semi-automatic pistols, which are what cops use. They're the opposite of revolvers that you have to like pump each round in individually. You just pop a clip in or and just get back to whatever you're doing. Now, what I don't see is a lot of those poor kids that were taken away that day. A lot of people saying that there were rifles going off and machine guns going off. Well, when a kid shot himself that was doing when the aggressor was shot, they found him with two pistols, and that was it. But from that, now there's an all-out assault rifles ban that's trying to get through Congress right now. See, why are you going to ban assault rifles if they were not in the recent shootings? They've been using handguns, so they should ban handguns, not assault rifles. It's like me stabbing you with a knife and saying they're going to outlaw all swords. Not knives, just swords. And then the whole NRA is up in arms about it. Like, oh, you can't take our guns, blah, blah, blah. I heard this thing from on the radio a couple days ago about the Tea Party. This was literally it. Obama wants to take your guns. Sign up now to figure out what you can do to not give up your guns. Obama doesn't want to take your fucking guns. Nobody wants to take your fucking guns. The only people who want to take away your guns are idiots, because you're never going to be able, no matter how big or how strict your country is, no government is ever going to be able to succeed in taking away Americans' guns, even the ones we've had for years now. Yeah, they can stop us from buying ammunition and guns, but that doesn't mean that they're actually going to stomp into our doors and take our guns. And I could guarantee you right now, if they tried that shit in any other part of the country, every other state would line up against it. That's the beauty of the US. They see one thing isn't going right in their own state, or a state next door, well, they make fucking well sure it won't happen to them. That's what's prevented a land war on us since 1812. And only then is because they came through Canada, those freaking maple syrup drinkers. Nah, much love, Canada. I just hate your people and your moose. Your moose scare me. They're fucking huge. But getting back on track. Getting back on track. I think what's going on now, that there's a lot of shady, quick written policies that are going into place right now, and no one's raising a huff about them. In this time that we're freaked out about guns, they've gotten through a bunch of internet bans banning privacy online. Facebook especially has been bad at this, that since Sandy Hook went down, they've had a bunch of update and policy things. They happen every week. And because we're stupid, we just, oh, do you agree with the new policy change? Click. Going back to seeing what Tiffany said about my hair. What was I saying? Oh God. Yes. Sorry, kind of weeding out. Going back on topic, I think that they're using this whole gun thing as a scapegoat. And get your tinfoil hats ready, kids, because I'm about to unload some really stupid conspiracy theories. But it all makes sense if you think about it. How the fuck did this kid have that much ammunition? Well, it was an easy scapegoat. He shot his mother. His mother tried to connect with her kid by taking him to a shooting range. Honestly, that seems fine. But the fact that he got a buttload of information from a locked safe that no one knows about, and then they found a rifle in a car that didn't even belong to him. What the fuck was a rifle doing there? If it was a one kid thing, he was a disgruntled lunatic that went in and shot a bunch of kids. Why does another car that doesn't belong there have a rifle in its back, in the trunk? And no one's brought that up. And then the whole Dahmer thing that happened a couple weeks ago, where this rogue LAPD started killing cops. Oh, more of a reason to ban any guns whatsoever. The guy went fucking rogue and he had military training. You know what that did? It put in people's minds that military people are not to be trusted, which is really bad. Now, I realize there's a lot of people out there who are against what our military is doing right now overseas, but you have to understand those soldiers are still people. They're still our people. They're our uncles and cousins and fathers and mothers, our brothers and sisters and our best friends. And they're being told to do things that they necessarily don't believe in, but they still have to do, otherwise some shit's going to happen to them. And I'm not saying they're just going to be decommissioned. I'm going to say that they're going to be stuck on guard duty at night, and then a random attack will happen and that person will end up dead. Tinfoil alert. Woo! I don't even remember what track I was talking about. I just, but yeah, I think what needs to be done, mostly, and even though people might say not, I think people need to be educated about guns. We can't take them away from the public. That's the worst thing we can do. And if we tried to do that, it would just start an uprising of the dullards. We need people to get educated about guns. We need to teach them how to handle guns and why they're not toys. We also need to put a tougher restraint on 12-year-olds playing Call of Duty. There's a reason those games are rated M. Children are so fucking impressionable, it's not even funny. And yeah, you know, this whole thing like, oh, bam, bam. If you teach your kids why it's bad to shoot at each other with guns, other than say don't play guns. I had my cousin, he got sent home from school with some of his buddies, because they were playing Cowboys and Indians, and they had guns. They're behind trees, just pew, pew, pew at each other. The fuck's that about? What kind of insane thing is that? Oh, well, we don't want to encourage violence. It's a fucking game. When I was in elementary school, they didn't want us playing tag. Like, it was like that's the only game we know how to play on a fucking empty grass field that doesn't have those little plastic uh, jungle gyms. No, no, no. We just had our imagination and balls that were popped half the time. You can't hide kids from the cold hard truth that there's dangerous things out in the world. You can't. You don't need to throw them into it, but you could just warn them ahead of time and try to teach them. Teaching is the best tool for survival. Kind of wish we can go back to the old West ways where kids realize, oh, this is a gun, this is a tool, this is a tool used to hunt meat and to defend myself if I need to. And everyone had a gun on them. And the murder rates were considerably lower than they are nowadays when nobody has guns on them except the criminals. And people think, oh, if we just take guns away, there's not going to be any more shootings. There's always going to be criminals. There have always been criminals, and there always will be criminals. And criminals don't obey the law. If you take away guns from normal citizens who aren't criminals, they're going to become victims. And the ones who do not want to become victims become criminals. And they make it seem like, oh, think of the children. Guess what? Those children are going to grow up in a world, and they will become the criminals if shit like this happens. Well, this is my tinfoil hat club video. Yeah. Conspiracy. Ooh. I'm gonna wrap it up. Maybe we'll talk about another thing later on. Or maybe go to bed. I gotta get some shit done. But hey, my paint came in today. I'm not going to be... I'll be able to do stuff in class. Fuck yeah. Gotta get up at 6 in the morning. God damn it. Anyway, have a good night, YouTube and whoever else. Toodles.